What do you get when you take a classic deck builder, take out all the cards, and then swap them with dice? Well, you get Astrea Six-Sided Oracles. In today's video, we're going to go into what a deck builder is, how Astrea matches up against other deck builders in the space, and if Astrea is worth your hard-earned clams. So let's jump into it. If you're unfamiliar with what a deck builder is, they are at their core a game where you build a deck, right? You build a deck, you combat enemies, and you progress as far as you can through a progressively harder dungeon. At the start of the game, you will have a few different characters to choose from that will have their own unique gimmicks or themes on how their particular deck operates. One character might deal heavy damage, but also take heavy damage, or there might be another character that was focused on poison or damage over time abilities. Each character will have a starting deck that will have basic cards that are available to everyone, and then some class-specific cards that will give you an idea of the identity of the character and how you probably want to play them. Once you pick your character, you will load into a procedurally generated dungeon that will have several different paths that you can take. Along the paths will be different encounters that you will come across as you progress along the map. Examples of some of these encounters are regular enemy fights, elite fights, which are much more difficult but provide greater rewards, and then various reward and event titles, which could be good or could be bad. Regular and elite fights will generally reward cards that you can choose to add to your deck. There are different rarities to the cards, which in most cases are either common, rare, and then either a really rare or epic card. The common cards are usually just okay, while the rare and epic cards are much stronger, or they fit a certain niche strategy. You can also acquire relics, which are essentially passive effects that will alter the way your deck or your character interacts with the world. They are usually rewarded from elite or boss fights, and they were almost always very strong effects. You craft your deck as you progress through the dungeon, adding stronger or synergistic cards or relics while also trying to remove the weaker or starter cards. The catch is, though, if you die, your run is over and you have to start all the way over from the beginning. So now you have a basic understanding of what a deck builder is, we can go into Astrea Six-Sided Oracles. Astrea Six-Sided Oracles is from indie developer Akupara Games, and it puts a unique twist on the deck builder format. All of the other elements are very similar to your typical deck builder, but the main difference is instead of cards, you have dice that are rolled at the start of each turn. Astrea also features a unique dual damage feature, Corruption and Purification. Corruption will deal damage to the player character and heal enemies, while Purification will heal the player and damage enemies. Another big difference in Astrea is that instead of just having a pool of random cards to choose from, there are safe, balanced, and risky dice. Safe dice have no downsides but are generally weaker effects. Balanced dice have a decent upside and a moderate downside. Risky dice have a very good upside but also a very bad downside. In other deck builders, there's usually a merchant or a shop type character that you will run into at some point in the game. This merchant will usually have cards for sale, relics for sale, sometimes they'll offer a card removal system, kind of like a one-stop shop. Now, while this character does exist in Astrea, there are also some unique shops that you can go to. One of those shops is called a forge shop, and this can allow you to craft or change the values on your dice. This can allow you to make risky dice less risky by replacing the bad effects with good effects. This adds another layer to the strategy where instead of just adding or removing cards in a typical deck builder, you can optimize the dice you have already acquired. Each character also has a virtue bar, which will allow you to cast abilities depending on how much corruption damage you have taken. These are one-time uses at the current corruption level, but if you heal up and then get damaged back down to that virtue, the ability is refreshed. The look and feel of this game is absolutely amazing. There are colorful and unique NPCs, player characters, and enemies. There is a basic story to the game, but it's relatively light, which is kind of to be expected in a game like this. Each character has a unique way that they play and operate, so this game has got a ton of replayability. My experience with this game has been overwhelmingly positive, but there are a few cons if you even want to call them that. To me, the difficulty did not seem as hard as Slay the Spire or other deck builders. I'm sure it gets more challenging as you progress through the corruption levels, Astria's version of ascension levels. The UI can also be rather busy and confusing at first glance. Once you played for about 30 or 40 minutes, you pretty much grasp what's going on, but it can be a little bit overwhelming in the beginning. The character balance is pretty good, but I feel like Astra is just a lot stronger than the other characters, while Solaris and Suthis feel somewhat underwhelming. All in all, though, this game is fantastic. The characters in the world are beautifully drawn, all of the player characters are unique and fun to play. The dice crafting system is unique and gives you another layer to strategize and think about. I highly recommend this game, and with a price tag of only $25, it is definitely worth the purchase for the hours and hours of gameplay you will get out of this game. Big, massive thumbs up. This is my first time playing one of Akupara's games, and now I'm going to go through their library and look for some more to play. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. It really does help with the YouTube algorithm. I make bi-weekly content about various games, gaming topics, and gaming news. Until next time, have a great day/night.